Hi guys, so in this video now we're going to look at something called the modified curl up. Now I'm going to ask you at some point to brace your core. Now what we mean by bracing is that we want the muscles within the core to actually tighten and contract, okay, and to hold in a bit of a corset if you like. Now if you think about if somebody was to give you a really big punch within the stomach, your muscles start to tighten if you're bracing for that punch. So that's what we want you to do, is actually brace for the punch. Now, the same things happen when you cough, when you laugh, when you sneeze, so it's the same thing that's going on. Now, this modified curl up is not like your traditional sit up or your traditional crunch. It's very different in that the spine does not move at all. Okay, so that's very, very important. The spine will not move. Now, again, it's more of a core exercise, and that's what we're looking for. So you're going to lie on your back, and you're going to place your hands underneath your lumbar spine, so underneath that lower part of your back where you've got a natural curve. Now everybody's natural curve is different in size, so it's whatever yours is like that we're looking at. So from here you want to maintain that curve in your back. So when we're actually completing the exercise, you don't want that to move at all. So again, there's no movement within the spine. Now what I'm going to get you to do is actually lengthen one leg out, and from here you're actually going to lift your elbows up off the floor. Now the reason being is because we're actually going to curl it very slightly, and placing the elbows down on the floor, chances are you're going to push it that little bit more, okay, which is what we don't want. So from here, lengthen one leg out, we're going to lift the elbows up very slightly, and then all we're going to do is brace. So again, as if you're bracing for that punch, and then we're literally just going to lift up a tiny, tiny amount, okay? So when this happens, you're going to keep that spine in line, okay? And what happens, or what shouldn't happen, is your back should not move. That lower back shouldn't move at all. So it shouldn't overarch, and it shouldn't press down. So it literally, there's no movement whatsoever. You're going to hold this for 10 seconds, and then you're going to relax down, and then we're going to swap over. So I'm going to swap the legs over, and again, I'm going to lift the elbows up, I'm going to brace, and I'm going to lift up very, very slightly. Okay, so the head and shoulders just lift up a tiny, tiny amount. So the reason for this is that tiny lift. What I want you to think about is, as you're lifting, if you think that you had a set of scales underneath your head and you're just trying to take the weight off the scales, okay, that's exactly what I want you to do. So same again, so if you've got that those scales underneath your head, okay, so we're going to lift the elbows up, we're going to brace, and we're just going to lift up very, very slightly. And again, you can probably see that my shoulders are lifted a tiny, tiny amount as well. So again, we're not curling up a lot. We are literally just taking that pressure off the floor, okay? We're going to hold it there again, another 10 seconds. Elbows are up. And then we're going to relax down, and then we can swap it over and go again. So to make this a little bit harder, what you would then do is think about, if there was a set of scales underneath your foot as well, is that literally we're going to take the pressure off that set of scales on your feet. We're not going to lift completely, we're just going to take the pressure off, and then that's the same thing, okay? So from here, again, brace, lift the elbows up, you're going to lift up very slightly, there's no movement in the lower back, and you can also take the pressure off those scales underneath your foot, and you're maintaining that. Hold that for 10 seconds, and then back down, and then relax. Okay, so this is your modified curl up with a little bit of a progression with the leg raise as well. Again, tiny, tiny movements, hardly anything. It's more about the endurance within the body to cope in these positions that we're looking at. So again, don't forget your bracing, making sure that the lower back isn't moving. Tiny, 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 tiny raise. Same with the feet as well, okay? And that's your modified curl up.